Welcome, fight fans, to episode 95 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We got a big pay-per-view this weekend. It's UFC 292, TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, Sterling versus O'Malley. This feud has been brewing for the last few years, and they're finally going to get their chance to lock the cage behind them and see who the new bantamweight champion of the world is. So we're going to be popping into our easy lines, helping you hit those parlays, get ahead of that book, and we'll be meeting you at the cashier Saturday night. We've got easy lines. Ben Zeman back on the pod here. He's been researching all week, all summer long, and we can't wait to share it with you guys. And so, Z, start us off. I'm going to share our topology, and we'll jump right into things.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to start from the prelims, sorry, or
Yeah, let's start early card and move our
early
way
card?
up to the
Yeah, I
the
guess for me, the earliest one that I was looking at is Chris Weidman, Brad Tavares. Obviously, Weidman coming off that pretty gruesome injury, but he's he looks healthy. He looks great. We're all everyone in the MMA community I think is glad to see that. But I think he's a little outmatched here with Brad Tavares. I'm a little worried in terms of his age and him coming that confidence coming back. Tavares, he's been kind of a journeyman at middleweight, right? Always hovering around that 10 or 15 kind of ranked mark. But I think he'll be able to squeeze out a very close decision here as the younger guy, a little bit more active going into the fight. So him by decision plus 200 for me looks like a good value for me. Him by finish is plus 120. I don't see Weidman going out. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I don't see Weidman getting finished here. I see him putting up a good fight, a close decision. But unfortunately, the judge is giving it over to Tavares there. So the plus 200 looks like good value to me personally. But yeah, Kranz, what were you thinking on that one?
Yeah, I agree with you here. It's tough for me to take Weidman, especially the skid he's been on, the big injury that was 2 years ago now, against Uriah Hall. Scary injury. It's nice to see him back in the octagon, but it's just tough for me to see too many paths to victory for him. It's not to say that Tavares is anything special or is going to be making a title run. He's on a skid himself too, losing to Bruno Silva and Duplessis. But hey, if he can go the full distance with Duplessis, that's impressive in and of itself. And you're right. I think the 4 year age advantage is going to be the X factor. I'm not really too interested in the money line minus 275. That just seems too steep a discount. But yeah, great value at the plus 200 range, 3-1. Theoretical probability of 33% chance. So I'm aligned with that one, and I think that's a great standalone bet. Or if you're looking to build a parlay, then perhaps looking at Tavares money line could be interesting to get that multiplier up.
Yes. Yeah. Even over 2.5 minus 120. If you're not loving the Tavares call, but anymore, but you do like the over, that looks interesting to me as well at kind of even money minus 120 if you're into that.
Absolutely. Earlier on the card, there is this Petrosky, Gerald Meerschaert fight here. It's an interesting one in the sense where you've got this huge veteran in Meerschaert, like over 50 professional fights, and then Petrovsky with only 10. But the guy with 10 is the big favorite. Kind of odd to me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's value on the veteran side in Meerschaert. He's faced the who's who. If you go and look, like he
Yeah.
fought Chimaev. He had a bunch of fights here throughout the last couple of years, which tells me he's in really good shape. Should be ready to roll here. Uh, this Joe knockout, that guy's really tough. He's a great prospect, so I'm not reading too much into that and don't want any sort of recency bias. And then on the vice versa, you've got Petrosky. Yeah, he's got a bunch of wins, but Turman's no good. Maximov is no good. And these guys, I don't even know if they're still with the promotion. And so I am liking just some value there. If you're looking at the money line, it's plus 187 on bet 365. And so that could be a nice little dog if you're looking for some plus value. Not sure if you have any thoughts there, if you want to keep going on the
No, I
prelim.
know. I got some thoughts there. Yeah, because I believe Mearshot, he's got a lot of submissions on his record. So
Correct.
if you take a look on that, him second round submission plus 1200,
Woo.
third round submission plus 2000. That looks like pretty juicy calls. Again, like I don't know, MMA, like I love betting on these fights, man, because like even if you just got a couple dollars here on plus 2000 third round, like you're sweating loving life heavy into the second round still. You can still win your bet at any time. So I don't know. I like that person. Like again, for the value there, the veteran status, the plus 187 obviously is nice as well, money line. But if you want to go a little bit bigger, a little juicier, I like those submission calls as well.
Yep. And if you, even if you're not putting money on this one, guys, like this should be some fireworks. If you look at fight to go the distance, it's plus 215 to go 3 rounds.
Oh yeah,
So
true.
the odd makers really do believe there's going to be a finish one way or the other. Obviously not a lock or guarantee, but certainly a high probability. And so yeah, could be a nice one just to warm up the crowd and get everyone ready for some of these more featured prelims. Um,
Yeah, and also interesting just to jump in there, Kron.
yeah,
Like it also says over 1.5 is a minus 150. Or sorry, minus 140.
40. Yep,
So that's very like, but yeah, to go to distance is plus 215. I've rarely seen that. Like they really think
yep,
it's gonna end in the mid or sorry, the big end of the second round or beginning of the third.
yep.
That's very, very interesting. So there's something kind of fishy going, like something kind of yeah, something weird going on with these lines here. I think there's definitely money to be made somehow there. Yeah, that second or third round call might be really,
Yeah,
really good.
that's a good call. You don't typically see that in terms of the odds. So whether the money's coming in heavy on finish or not, I'm not really sure. But yeah, it could be a nice little prop to circle.
Mm.
And so, before we get into the main card, Cheeto Vera and Pedro Munoz, we do have, the Ultimate Fighter championship ones here. Didn't, study this too much, but we were just talking before the pod about Cody Gibson versus Brad Katona. And I think we're both seeing some potential here on the dog side. Did you want to touch on that quick or?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I think going back to it, Gibson is the underdog at plus 150. Yeah, so he's plus 150. He has an obvious length and reach advantage. They're both very experienced fighters. I believe Gibson has fought Sterling before, lost to him, but the Katona as well has fought some big some other name fighters as well. Has some notable wins, I believe. In oh yeah, Bryce Mitchell, I believe, is one
Yep.
other notable win for Katona. So they seem. I mean, we haven't been to be upfront with our watchers and listeners here. We haven't been watching the Ultimate Fighter season that closely, but from what we're looking at here, these guys look a little bit more even than the odds are saying, and that plus 150 has potential. Also, the odds makers are really looking at this fight to go to the distance minus 230. So if you take Gibson by at a distance, sorry, the Gibson by to win by decision is a plus 325. That as well looks like excellent juice to us. So, or at least
Absolutely.
to myself as well. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Kronz agrees as well. But yeah, that's kind of I think were my main comments there. Anything? I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big height advantage, especially at bantamweight. To be 5'10" and 135 pounds is quite long. And then the reach itself, 71 to 64, big delta there. And hey man, to have plus money on that sort of physical advantage could be interesting. And yeah, plus 325 for decision. I think they're going to be a little bit patient here. They know they're on a pay-per-view.
Mhm.
There's a lot of eyes on them. They could really just be feeling each other out that first round and be a bit timid. So that could be a nice little single bet to get that 4-1 money back. About a 20% theoretical probability there. So yeah, let's hop in to the first fight on the main card, which is funny enough, Hooks and alumni Chito Vera facing off against Pedro Munhoz, which, in my opinion, could be the best fight on the card. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Pedro's coming in a late notice, but fine for him. He's always good to go, ready for any fight. So I'm not too worried about that as much in terms of the late round, or sorry, late notice for him. Other than not being as prepared in terms of game plan, but Cheeto as well was obviously not preparing for him. So I think that's a bit of a wash there. But what I'm seeing here is Cheeto obviously having the a reach advantage. He's excellent striker. Pedro, he's an excellent striker as well, but he's more of kind of a tough guy in my mind, and is going to be able to stick it out there with Cheeto, absolutely. So I kind of see it more going as an over, more to decision, and over to Cheeto as well. I think it was a plus one. Oh no, sorry, plus 150. But let me check that again.
Money line plus 170.
No, sorry, by him by decision is a plus 110.
Oh, yep, for Cheeto, plus
Yeah, for
110
Cheeto. Yeah. Yeah.
by the
So
points.
that's kind of what I'm feeling there a little bit here. Obviously it's going chalk by the odds makers, but I do like that. As I said, Pedro's a tough guy. I don't think they're either one of them's getting each other out of there. Certainly the over as well. Fight to go to difference minus 285, so they are seeing that as well. Heavy overs there. So not a lot of value on the over, but their decision plus 110. If you disagree with me and want to go Munoz, that's perfectly fine because plus 240, that looks juicy as well. So for me on this fight, either way on either one of those decision bets, I think is probably good for this. But yeah, Kronz, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Munhoz, tough guy to put away. You even see his last two losses here were hard fought decisions versus Cruz and Jose Aldo, two legends. So he certainly fought the upper echelon of the bantamweight weight class, and same as Cheeto, right? Big big close decision loss here against Sandhagen, and then big KO win over Dominic Cruz. That one was pretty nuts. But then decision win, Rob Font. Frankie's not who he once was, so I won't really look at that too much. But then
Yeah,
another decision win over Grant. So yeah, I'm liking this one on the over for sure. I could see kind of a split decision. I know you can't really bet on that, but it
yeah,
might be in our cards here. But at the very least, this one will be a fan friendly, high volume output. Both are good strikers, kickers, and should be a nice little way to kick off the main card. But I will side with the Cheeto side just because of the facts Ben mentioned, but also he was on our podcast, so we got to give some love to Hooks and alumni. And so, yeah, great way to start off the card here. Let's keep moving though. We've got the next one, another late notice fight in terms of Damon Blackshear being the second fighter in UFC history fighting within 7 days of each other. This guy coming off of a crazy twister finish win last week. He virtually took no damage, made quick work of Jose Johnson, and is fighting a pretty tough test here in Mario Bautista. What are you feeling, and how are you feeling on this one?
yeah. No, I didn't see that last win and the recent one for this guy. So yeah, I don't have much to comment on this one there, Kronz, but you can
Yeah.
jump in there.
So he looked really good last week. He got that twister submission that Bryce Mitchell has had a few times. Like I said, made
Right.
quick work. He looked in really good shape, and he just seems like more of the more physical and athletic fighter in terms of body composition and stature. I know Batista is kind of like this highly touted prospect, right? He's 12-2 and he's on a 4-fight win streak, but look at the guys he's fought and it's really no one of note. He's gotten, a bunch of subs here, but I'm not all that impressed, especially seeing that price tag, that minus 210 price tag here on Bet365. So this is going to be another dog for me. Damon Blackshear, money line, plus 175. I'm not really
Nice.
endorsing a prop because I could see him finishing, but I could also see it being a pretty close decision win. If you're feeling a little bit risky, yeah, plus 550 on decision. That seems like great value to me. And I think he's looking to get 2 wins in 1 week and could be a nice little launch, 3-win launch for him to start approaching the ranked position here in the bantamweight division. So yeah, should be an interesting fight. And you see just like physically, right, a little bit taller, a little longer reach, and it just seems thicker, more muscular, and more athletic. So that's my X factor here.
Like it.
Okay, moving on, another last minute
Yeah.
fight, which I think is actually not bad because I'm a big Neil Magny fan. I think he's a really exciting fighter to watch. But of course, Ian Gary, one of these top highly touted prospects who is undefeated, 12-0, but then going up against a veteran with 38 professional fights. So how are you breaking this one down?
Yeah, like you said, Neil Magny's. He's been around a while as a perennial top 10 contender, or top 15 contender, similar to Tavares. But I'd say Magny's even on another level with him just because of how good the welterweight division has been over the last, whatever, 5 to 10 years. But it's going to be, even though it's a last minute replacement, Magny coming in here, it's still a very hard test for Gary here. Gary is gonna, what he does a lot is really just look to land that sniper right hand, really, right, and continue to move around. He doesn't have a lot of head movement, but I think if he's able to push Magny back and put him on his back foot, he will have a lot of success that way. If Magny's able to control the fight, then or control kind of the center of the octagon a little bit more, that's when he has a lot more success. But Gary is going to be able to push him forward. I am looking at Gary to win this fight. Him by decision though. Again, I'm liking some of the decisions tonight until the main event. Spoiler alert, but plus 275 Gary decision looks like a good to me. Magny is going to be a tough outing for anyone. He's kind of actually, he reminds me of RDA. We kind of already spoke about where RDA is ready to fight anyone at any time type of thing, and always puts up a good fight. He's always in shape, always ready to go. So I don't see Magny getting schooled by Gary by any means, but I do see Gary using, he's the classic kind of up and coming prospect that's going against this gatekeeper, and I have a feeling that Gary's going to be able to pass the test, not necessarily with flying colors, but he's going to be able to squeak out that decision and win. But yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think for this one?
Yeah, sticking away from it for the most part. I just
Mm,
think the minus 500 is way too steep for Gary. I think it should be more in the
yeah, true.
minus 300 range. Terrible value, just single bet, even parlay. It doesn't do too much risk. Something to call out, 6-inch reach advantage for Magny. They're the
Yeah.
same height, but 6 inches could be an interesting X factor. And yeah, the plus 275 Gary by decision looks appealing. If you are looking a little bit wild, a little bit crazy, we are seeing a boost here on Magny plus 750 via
Eh,
decision. That's eight and a
I like
half
that.
to 1 odds. And I think a half unit bet could be worthwhile there. But for the most part, staying away from this. I think Gary gets the job done. I just don't think there's much value. So let's move
Uh,
on. We've
but the other,
got,
actually, I was just going to say for Magny,
yep.
he's obviously had a lot of submission wins as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go again, like, because there's just value there, as you said, straight up value on here. Him by submission plus 200, plus 5,000. Submission third round plus 8,000. That's amazing. And like again, like you can just sprinkle a little on there, hedge it if you want with Gary, but that those submission numbers, that's I'd really like those as well in terms of the juice.
Yeah,
So
good call out, crazy value, like you said, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. Looks
you
like
just
we got
don't see these type of numbers for football or anything, right? Like it's just like you
oh,
don't get these type of spreads. So I Emma, like
it's
it's
it's the last
good time to
minute.
be a easy line subscriber, everyone. So
Yeah, it's the
good.
last minute fill in. It's the undefeated uh
Yeah.
nature of Gary, but you look at the ranks and Magny is a higher rank at 11 versus 13. So I think it is more competitive and those odds should be closer, but I
Exactly.
think a lot of money.
A lot crazier things have happened than
Correct.
Magny submitting a prospect in the second round because Magny is he's a G. So
You got it.
I
Our
love it.
time is running out
Oh
here. We
yeah,
got
true.
5 minutes left, but we're right to the co-main event of the evening, and that's Wiley Zhang versus Amanda Lemos for the strawweight championship of the world. Who are you feeling?
Yeah, so I am feeling Wei Li in general. I think this is going to be, even though this is going to be one of the most powerful punchers she's gone up against, probably like first time she's ever gone someone more powerful than her. And but I think she's going to be able to control the grappling and be able to wrestle her, keep her on the ground, and really kind of draw out this fight. That's her path to victory. Wiley is through wrestling. Lemos is obviously a very powerful puncher. She has to be aware of that. We're going to see some great, powerful striking. I'm very excited for this women's fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Wiley's going to play the smart fight, draw out the fight. I'm also very concerned that Lemos was taken down by Michelle Watterson in the first round in that fight as well. So if Watterson's able to do it, certainly Zhang Weili will be able to. So her at a minus 150 is good to parlay with some things. I also like the over minus 180, perfect for a two-leg parlay, as we suggested, over 2.5 plus 105. I really like as well for this fight. Again, going over, she's going to be wrestling, taking her down more. If Lemos is able to get up, then this will be a much more competitive fight than I expected. I guess she's able to get up multiple times, but I'm betting on Zhang Weili here. What are you thinking, Kronz?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I just have trouble seeing a path to victory for Lemos, and yeah, I think Wiley has just the stronger career in terms of opponents and even success rate coming in at 23-3 versus 13-12. And she's the younger fighter too, but has had more experience. So, yeah, all those factors combined, I think Zhang's got that clear path and should have that belt strapped on her waist at the end of the night. And so, for our last 3 minutes, we've got the main event of the evening. This one, guys, like we said on the beginning, is highly touted fight. They've been trash talking for a while. They have the exact stylistic difference that we all look for in matchmaking, and that's the striking of O'Malley versus the grappling and kind of ground game of Aljamain Sterling. And so break this one down for us, Z, and I'll sprinkle in my insight to wrap up today's call.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you say, classic kind of grappler versus striker matchup. Although O'Malley's jiu-jitsu is underrated, along with Sterling's striking as well, underestimated. His striking is very awkward, coming at you at different angles. When you're thinking takedown, he touches you up. Then when you're thinking the striking, he goes for the takedown. So he's been very, very successful at that. Ultimately, I do see the advantage on the ground for Sterling. That's going to come into play. Even though O'Malley's jiu-jitsu is good, as I said, his Sterling's level is probably one of the best in the UFC on another level. Certainly one of the best that has ever been in bantamweight, I think. So he's huge for the weight class. Sterling is as well. He walks around 10 or 15 pounds heavier than O'Malley. You can see that O'Malley is taller, but Sterling's going to be stronger. O'Malley has a clear length advantage, fights amazing from distance. He's a sniper. He can find that one punch better than anyone, but it can backfire. If he misses, he's getting taken down. Because if O'Malley really, oh yeah, he's going to get taken down because he really likes to sit on his punches, right? He plants his feet in the ground, digs in, and fires. He's right in front of you when he does that. If he misses, he's open for that takedown, and that's when Sterling goes to work. And that's pretty much how I see this fight playing out. We'll see O'Malley moving a lot, staying on the outside, fighting from a distance. He'll look for that one big shot. If the opening doesn't come for him, I see Sterling starting to get aggressive, moving in, and that's when O'Malley counters with that big shot. That moment right there will be the story of the fight. Will Sterling be able to evade that shot and get to the hips, resulting in the finish for him, or will O'Malley land that big shot and get the KO? I'm leaning on here is the under 2.5 rounds at minus 115. Bantamweight fights have usually been very exciting. Many great fighters. This one's no different. I see a lot of action here. O'Malley by KO or TKO in the first round is a plus 900. Excellent value. So you can jump on that. Plus 1400 in the second round as well. I like. Then Sterling, first round submission, plus 550. Excellent juice there. Second round's a plus 800 if you want to go there as well. So either way, if you're feeling O'Malley or Sterling, there's some finishes you can go with.
Yeah,
Gronk on
that
you.
Sterling first round sub is actually boosted up to plus 600. So I think that's a
Ooh,
nice 7-1 value. And there is a
yes.
boost, 4 more takedowns plus 225. But I do think the human backpack gets the sub, gets the win. And I think the X factor for me is strength of schedule. He's fought the who's who, where
Yep.
O'Malley hasn't, but O'Malley still has a lot of ramp to go.